Act 1, The Chocolate House.
You are a fortunate man, Fainall.
Have we done?
What you please, I'll play on to entertain you.
No. I'll give you your revenge another time when you're not so indifferent. You're thinking of something else now and play too carelessly. The coldness of a losing gamester lessens the pleasure of the winner. I'd no more play with a man that slighted his ill fortune than I'd make love to a woman who undervalued the loss of her reputation. Really? Why so reserved? Something has put you out of humor.
Not at all. I happen to be grave today, and you are gay. That's all.
Confess. Millamant and you quarreled last night after I left you. My fair cousin has some humors that would tempt the patience of a stoic. What, some coxcomb came in and was well received by her while you were by?
Woodwood and petulant. And what was worse, her aunt, your wife's mother, my old lady Wishfort, came in.
Oh, there it is then. The old dame has a lasting passion for you, and with good reason. What then? My wife was there?
Yes. And Madame Marwood, and 3 or 4 more who I never saw before. Seeing me, they all put on their grave faces, whispered to one another, then complained aloud of the vapors, and after fell into a profound silence.
They had a mind to be rid of you.
For which reason I resolved not to leave. At last, the good old lady broke through her painful taciturnity with an invective against long visits. I pretended not to have understood her, but Millamant, joining in the argument, I rose, and with a constrained smile told her I thought nothing was so easy as to know when a visit had begun to be troublesome. She reddened, and I withdrew.
Now, she spoke only in compliance with her aunt.
She is more mistress of herself than to be under the necessity of such a resignation.
What? Though half her fortune depends on marrying with my lady's approbation? But I wonder not they were weary of you. Last night was one of their cabal nights. They have them 3 times a week and meet by turns at one another's apartments, where they come together like the coroner's inquest to sit upon the murdered reputations of the weak.
And who may have been the foundress of this sect? My Lady Wishfort, I warrant, who publishes her detestation of mankind, and, though full of the vigor of 55, will breed no more.
The discovery of your sham addresses to her, to conceal your love to her niece, has provoked this separation. Had you dissembled better, things might have continued in the state of nature.
I did as much as any man could. I proceeded to the very last act of flattery with her, and even composed a song in her commendation. The devil's in it if an old woman is to be flattered further, unless a man should endeavor downright personally to debauch her. Not my virtue forbade me. But for the discovery of my falsified overtures, I am indebted to your friend, or your wife's friend, Marwood.
What should provoke Marwood to be your enemy, unless she has made advances which you have slighted? Women do not easily forgive omissions of that nature.
She was always civil of me, till late.
You speak with indifference which seems to be affected, and confesses you are conscious of a negligence.
You pursue the argument with a distrust that seems to be unaffected, and which confesses that you are conscious of a concern for which Marwood is more indebted to you than your wife.
Fie, friend. If you grow censorious, I must leave you. I'll look upon the gamesters in the next room.
Who are they?
Witwoud and petulant. Bring me some chocolate!
Betty curtsies. Exit Fainall.
Betty, what says your clock?
Turned of the last canonical hour, sir.
Pertinently, the jade answers me. Almost 1 o'clock. Ah, there you are.
Enter a servant.
Well, is the grand affair over? You've been pretty tedious.
Sir, there's such a coupling at Pancras that they stand behind one another as 'twere in a country dance. So we drove round to the town hall at Duke's Palace, and there they were riveted in a trice.
And you are sure they are married?
Married and bedded, sir, I am witness.
Have you the certificate?
Here it is, sir.
Excellent. Then get you home again, you hear, and adjourn the consummation till further notice.
Ah, great.
Bid Waitwell shake his ears and Foible rustle up her feathers, and meet me at 1 o'clock by Rosamund's pond, and that I may see her before she returns to her lady. And as you tender your ears, be secret.
Exit the servant, re-enter Fainall.
Joy of your successes, Mirabelle. You look pleased.
I I have been engaged in a matter of some mirth, which is not yet ripe for discovery. I am glad this is not a cabal night. I wonder, Fainall, that you, who are married and of consequence should be discreet, would suffer your wife to be of such a party.
Faith, I am not jealous. Besides, most who are engaged are women and relations, and as for the men, they are of a kind too contemptible to give scandal.
I am of another opinion. The greater the coxcomb, the greater the scandal. For a woman who is not a fool can have but one reason for associating with a man that is.
Well, give Millamant her due. She has some wit.
She has beauty enough to make any man think so.
For a passionate suitor, methinks you are a man somewhat too discerning in the failings of your mistress.
For a discerning man, somewhat too passionate a suitor. For I like her with all her faults. Nay, I like her for her faults. Her follies are so natural or so artful that they become her. And those affectations which in another woman would be odious serve but to make her more agreeable. I'll tell thee, Fainall, she once used me with such insolence that in revenge I took her to pieces, sifted her and separated her failings. I studied them and I learned them by rote. The catalogue was so large that I was not without hopes one day or other to hate her heartily. But in a few days, it became habitual to me to remember them without being displeased, and they are now grown as familiar to me as my own frailties. In all probability, in a little time longer, I shall like them as well.
Marry her! Marry her! Be half as well acquainted with her charms as you are with her defects, and my life on it, you are your own man again.
Say you so?
Aye. I have experience. I have a wife.
Enter a messenger.
Is Squire Whitwood here?
Yes. What's your business?
I have a letter for him from his brother, Sir Wilful.
He's in the next room, friend. That way.
Exit the messenger.
What, is the chief of that noble family in town, Sir Wilful Whitwood?
He is expected today. Do you know him?
I have seen him. He promises to be an extraordinary person. I think you have the honor of being related to him.
Only through marriage, sir. An essential distinction. He is nephew and heir apparent to my Lady Wishfort, my wife's mother. If you marry Millamant, you must call him cousin too.
I'd rather be his relation than his acquaintance.
He comes to town in order to equip himself for travel.
For travel? I wonder there is not an act of parliament to save the credit of the nation and prohibit the exportation of fools.
By no means. 'Tis better to trade with a little loss than to be overstocked.
Pray, are the follies of this knight errant and those of his brother anything related?
Oh, not at all. Sir Wilful is an odd mixture of bashfulness and obstinacy, and when he's drunk, he's a monster. To give Whitwood his due, he has something of good nature and does not always want wit.
Not always, but often enough to be generally unfit for elegant conversation. He is a fool with a good memory who collects the scraps of other people's wit, hoards them, rehearses them to the mirror, and passes them off as his own.
If you have a mind to finish his picture, you have an opportunity to do it full length. Behold the original.
Enter Whitwood.
Afford me your compassion, my dears. Pity me, Fainall, Mirabelle, pity me.
I do, from my soul.
Why, what's the matter?
A messenger, a mule, a beast of burden. He has brought me a letter from the fool my brother, as heavy as a funeral sermon and twice as tedious.
A fool and your brother, Whitwood.
My half-brother. My half-brother he is. No nearer upon my honor.
Then 'tis possible he may be but half a fool.
Good, Mirabelle Ladrol. Hang him. Let's talk of him. Fainall, how does your wife... Gad, I say anything in the world to get this fellow out of my head. I beg pardon that I should ask a man of pleasure in the town a question at once so foreign and domestic, but by Our Lady and upon my soul, she's the best woman in the world. No man in town lives well with a wife, but Fainall. Your judgment, Mirabelle?
You had better ask his wife if you would be credibly informed.
What have you done with Petulant?
He's reckoning his money. My money it was. I have no luck today.
You may allow him to win of you at cards, for you are sure to be too hard for him at repartee. Since you monopolize the wit that is between you, the fortune must be his.
I don't find that Petulant confesses the superiority of wit to be your talent, Witwood.
Come, you are malicious now and would breed debates. Petulant's my friend, and a very honest fellow, and a very pretty fellow, and has a smattering of an odd sort of a small wit, but I'm his friend. I won't wrong him.
You don't take your friend to be too nicely bred?
No. No, hang him. The rogue has no manners at all, no more breeding than a bailiff. Still, the fellow has fire and life.
What, courage?
Faith, I don't know as to that. I can't say as to that, but he'll contradict anybody.
Though 'twere a man whom he feared, or a woman whom he loved.
Well, he does not always think before he speaks, but we all have our failings. You two are too hard upon him. Let me excuse him. I can defend most of his faults, except one or two.
What? I warrant he's insincere or to some such trifle.
No. Well, what if he is? 'Tis no matter for that. A wit should no more be sincere than a woman constant. One argues a decay of parts as the other of beauty.
Well, maybe you think him too illiterate?
That? No, that's his happiness. His lack of learning gives him the more opportunities to show his natural parts.
He wants words?
Aye, but I like him for that, for his want of words gives me the pleasure very often to explain his meaning.
He's impudent.
No, that's not it.
Vain?
No.
Too honest?
Honest. No, he never speaks truth at all. He will lie like a chambermaid.
Now, that is a fault.
Enter Coachman.
Is Mr. Petulant here?
Yes.
3 gentlewomen in a coach would speak with him.
Oh, brave Petulant! 3 whole women?
I'll tell him.
Exit Coachman.
That will be for 3 strumpets.
You are very free with your friend's acquaintance.
Aye, friendship without freedom is as dull as love without enjoyment, or wine without toasting.
Enter Petulant.
Well, I come. Splud, a man has as good a be a professed midwife as a professed whoremaster at this rate. To be knocked up and raised at all hours in all places, pox on him, I won't come. Do you hear? Tell him I won't come. Let him snivel and cry their hearts out.
You're very cruel, Petulant.
All's one, let it pass. I have a humor to be cruel.
We hope they are not persons of condition that you use at this rate.
Condition? Condition's a dried fig if I'm not in humor. By this hand, if they were your, what do you call 'em? They must wait or rub off.
What do you call them? What are they, Witwood?
Empresses, my dear Mirabelle. He means women of quality.
Aye, women of quality.
Cry you mercy.
Witwood said they were prostitutes.
What did he say they were?
Aye. Oh, fine ladies, I say.
Fine ladies are gone, sir, in great anger.
Enough. Let him trundle. Anger serves the woman's complexion, saves rouge.
Oh, this is all a ruse, so Petulant might have something to brag of next time he makes court to Millamant and swears he has abandoned the whole sex for her sake.
Have you not left your impudent pretensions there yet? I shall cut your throat sometime or other, Petulant, about that business.
I let that pass. There are other throats to cut.
Meaning mine, sir?
I mean nobody, sir. I know nothing. But there are uncles and nephews in the world, and they may be rivals. What then? All's one for that. Why, you have an uncle, have you not, lately come to town and lodges at my Lady Wishford's?
True?
You and he are not friends, and if he should marry and have a child, you may be disinherited, yeah?
Where hast thou stumbled on all this truth?
Oh, all's one for that.
Come, thou art an honest fellow, Petulant. What hast thou heard of my uncle?
I? Nothing. If throats are to be cut, let swords clash. Snug's the word. I shrug and am silent.
Come, I know thou art in the women's secrets. What? You're a cabalist. I know you stayed at Milliman's last night after I went. Was there any mention made of my uncle or me?
If I answer, will you grant me common sense in the future?
Faith, I'll do what I can for thee, and I'll pray that heaven may grant it thee in the meantime.
Well, Pocky, I'll tell you.
Mirabelle and Petulant talk apart.
Petulant and you both will find Mirabelle has committed a rival as a lover.
Oh, that she laughs at Petulant is plain, and for my part, but that it is almost a fashion to admire Millamant, I should, but to tell you a secret and let it go no further, between friends, I shall never break my heart for her.
Oh?
She's handsome, but she's a sort of an uncertain woman.
Thought you said you would die for her.
Who, me? No. Well, no. And Mirabelle is not so sure of her as he thinks.
Why do you think so?
We stayed pretty late there last night and heard something of an uncle to Mirabelle who has lately come to town, and should this uncle wed, he would stand between his nephew and the best part of his estate. Mirabelle and he are at some distance, as Lady Wishford has been told, and you know she hates Mirabelle worse than a fishmonger hates a hard frost. Now, whether this uncle has seen Lady Wishford or not, I cannot say, but there was talk of such a treaty being in embryo, and if it should come to life, poor Mirabelle would be unfortunately fobbed.
And this is the sum of what you could collect last night?
The quintessence, Mr. Mirabelle. Maybe Witwoud knows more. He stayed longer. Besides, they never mind him. They say anything before him.
I thought you had been the greatest favorite.
Peut-être. But not in public, because I make remarks.
You do?
Aye. Hawks, I'm a malicious man. Now, the squire, he's soft, you know. They are not in awe of him. He's well bred, of course, but he's what you call what do you call him?
I thank you. I know as much as my curiosity requires. Theynaul, will you walk?
Aye, I'll take a turn before dinner.
Faith, let's all go. The ladies talked of being there.
I thought you were obliged to watch for your brother Sir Wilful's arrival.
No. He comes to my Lady Wishford's, praise be, so I shall be spared discourse with him a little while longer. Petulant, come to the mall with us, and we'll be very severe.
I'm in a humor to be severe.
Are you? Pray then, walk by yourselves. Let us not be accessory to your putting the ladies out of countenance with your senseless ribaldry, which you roar out aloud as often as they pass by you, and when you have made a handsome woman blush, then you think that you have been severe.
Then let them either show their innocence by not understanding what they hear, or else show their discretion by not hearing what they would not be thought to understand. I always take women blushing either for a sign of guilt or ill breeding.
I confess you ought to think so. Where modesty's ill manners, 'tis but fit that impudence and malice pass for wit.
End of Act 1. Act 2. The Mall.
Hi, Aye, dear Marwood, if we will be happy, we must find the means in ourselves and among ourselves. Men are ever in extremes, either doting or averse. While they are lovers, if they have fire and sense, their jealousies are insupportable. And when they cease to love, they loathe. They look upon us with horror and distaste.
True. 'Tis an unhappy circumstance of life that love should ever die before us, and that the man should often outlive the lover. But say what you will, 'tis better to be left than never to have been loved. For my part, my youth may wear and waste, but it shall never rust in my possession.
Then it seems you dissemble an aversion to the male sex only in compliance with my mother's humor.
Certainly, I have no taste for those insipid, dry discourses with which we women must entertain ourselves. We may affect endearment to each other, profess eternal friendships, and seem to dote like lovers, but 'tis not in our natures long to persevere. Love will resume his empire in our breasts, and sooner or later every heart will readmit him as its lawful tyrant.
Bless me, how I have been deceived! Why, you profess a libertine.
You see my friendship by my freedom. Come, be as sincere. Acknowledge that your sentiments agree with mine.
Never.
You hate mankind.
Heartily, inveterately.
Your husband?
Most transcendently. Aye, though I say it meritoriously.
Give me your hand upon it.
There.
Then we do agree, for what I have said has been to try you.
Is it possible? Dost thou hate those vipers, men?
I have done hating him and have now come to despise him. I am even thinking of carrying my aversion further.
How?
Faith, by marrying. If I could but find one that loved me well, I think I should do myself the violence of undergoing the ceremony.
You would not make him a cuckold?
No. But I'd make him believe I did, and that's as bad.
Why had you not as good do it?
Oh, if he should ever discover it, he would then know the worst and be out his pain. But I would have him ever to continue upon the rack of fear and jealousy.
Ingenious mischief! Would thou wert married to Mirabell?
Would I were.
You change color.
Because I hate him.
So do I, but I can hear him named. What reason have you to hate Mirabell in particular?
I never loved him. He is, and always was, insufferably proud.
By the reason you give for your aversion, one would think it dissembled, for you have laid a fault to his charge of which even his enemies must acquit him.
Then it seems you are one of his favorable enemies. Methinks you look a little pale. And now you flush again.
Do I? I think I am a little sick of the sudden.
Oh, what ails you?
My husband! Don't you see him?
Enter Fainall and Mirabell.
He comes opportunely for you.
For you, for he has brought Mirabell with him.
My dear,
My soul.
you don't look well today, child.
Do you think so?
He is the only man that does, madam.
The only man that would tell me so, at least, and the only man from whom I could hear it without mortification.
Oh, my dear, I know you cannot resent anything from me, especially my concern.
Mirabell, my mother interrupted you in a pleasant report last night. I would fain hear the affair out.
Alas, madam, persons concerned in the matter have yet a tolerable reputation. I'm afraid Fainall would not approve.
Oh, he has a pride more prevailing than his curiosity, and would willingly dispense with the hearing of one scandalous story to avoid creating another by being seen to walk with his wife. This way, Mirabelle, and I dare promise you will oblige us both.
Exeunt Mrs. Fainall and Mirabelle.
Excellent creature. Well, sure, if I should live to be rid of my wife, I should be a miserable man.
Hi.
For since I have only that one hope, to see her dead, the accomplishment of it must put an end to all my hopes. And what a wretch is he who must survive his hopes! Nothing remains when that day comes but to sit down and weep, like Alexander when he wanted other worlds to conquer.
You not follow him?
I think not.
Pray let us. We have a reason.
You are not jealous
Of whom?
of Mirabelle?
If I am, is it inconsistent with my love to you that I am tender of your honor?
You would suggest there is a fellow feeling between my wife and him?
I think she does not hate him to the degree she would be thought.
His affections lie elsewhere.
Maybe you are deceived.
It may be so. I begin to apprehend it.
What?
That I have been deceived, madam, and you are false.
That I am false.
I see through your little arts. Come. You both love him and have both equally dissembled your aversion. Your mutual jealousies of one another have made you clash till you have both struck fire. I see the confession reddening on your cheeks.
You do me wrong.
I do not. It was for my ease to oversee and willfully neglect the gross advances made him by my wife, that by permitting her to be engaged, I might continue unsuspected in my pleasures and take you to my arms in full security. But could you think, because the nodding husband would not wake, that ere the watchful lover slept?
And wherewithal can you reproach me?
With infidelity, with loving of another, with love of Mirabelle.
'Tis false. I challenge you to show an instant that can confirm your groundless accusation. I hate him.
And wherefore do you hate him? Because he does not return your love, and your resentment follows his neglect. An instance? The injuries you have done him are a proof. What cause had you to make discoveries of his pretended passion, to undeceive the credulous aunt, and be the obstacle of his eloping with Millamant?
My obligations to Lady Wishfort urged me. I had professed a friendship to her, and could not see her so abused by that philanderer.
Oh, yes, the pious relationships of the female sex.
More tender, more sincere, and more enduring than all the vain and empty vows of men.
Yeah, you were my wife's friend, too.
Shame and ingratitude. Do you reproach me? I have been false to her through strict fidelity to you, and sacrificed my friendship to keep my love inviolate. And have you the baseness to charge me with the guilt which should lie buried in your bosom?
Your guilt, not your resentment, begets your rage. If you yet loved me, you could forgive my jealousy, but you are stung to find you are discovered.
Shall all be discovered. I will prevent your baseness.
Why? What will you do?
Disclose it to your wife. Oh, and what has passed between us?
Frenzy!
By all my wrongs, I'll do it. I'll publish to the world the injuries you have done me, both in my fame and fortune.
Your fame I have preserved. Your fortune has been bestowed upon pleasures which we both have shared. Had you not been false, I had ere this repaid it. Oh, 'tis true! Had you permitted Mirabelle and Millamant to have stolen their marriage, Lady Wishfort would have been incensed beyond all means of reconcilement. Millamant would have forfeited half her fortune, which then would have descended to her cousin, my wife. And wherefore did I marry, but to make lawful prize of a rich widow's wealth and squander it on you?
Deceit and frivolous pretense.
What pretense? Am I not imprisoned? Fettered? Have I not a wife? Nay, a wife that was a widow, a young widow, a handsome widow, and would be again a widow, but that I had the constitution to bustle through the ways of wedlock and this world. Now, will you be reconciled to the truth and me?
Impossible. Truth and you are inconsistent. I hate you and shall forever.
For loving you?
I loathe the name of love after such usage. And next to the guilt with which you would asperse me, I scorn you most. Farewell.
Nay, we must not part thus.
Let me go.
Come. I'm sorry.
I care not. Let me go. Break my fingers do. I'd leave them to get loose.
Nay, this is extravagance. Come. I ask your pardon. I could not love you and be easy in my doubts. Pray, forbear. I will make amends. I will hate my wife even more. Damn her. I'll part with her, rob her of all she's worth, and will retire somewhere, anywhere, to another world. I'll marry thee. Be pacified. This death may come. Hide your face. This way. This way.
Fainall and Marwood withdraw. Re-enter Mrs. Fainall and Mirabelle.
They're still here. While I only hated my husband, I could bear to see him, but since I have chosen to despise him, he's too offensive.
Oh, you should hate with prudence.
Yes, for I have loved with indiscretion.
You should have just so much disgust for your husband as may be sufficient to make you relish your lover.
You have been the cause that I have loved without bounds, and would you set limits to that hatred of which you have been the occasion? Mirabelle, why did you make me marry this man?
Why do we daily commit disagreeable and dangerous actions? To save that idol, reputation. If our love had produced that consequence of which you were apprehensive, where could you have fixed a father's name with credit but on a husband? I knew Fainall to be a man extravagant of his morals, yet one whose wit and fair behavior have gained a reputation with the town, enough to make that woman stand excused who consents to his advances. A better man ought not to have been sacrificed to the occasion, a worse had not answered to the purpose. When you are weary of him, you know your remedy.
I ought to stand in some degree of credit with you, Mirabelle.
In justice to you, I have made you privy to my whole design, and put it in your power to ruin or advance my fortune.
Whom have you instructed to represent your pretended uncle?
My servant Waitwell.
Then you may win Foible, my mother's waiting woman.
Care's taken for that. She is one, and warned by this time. They were married this morning.
Who?
Waitwell and Foible.
So, if my poor mother is caught in a contract, you will expose the impostor and release her by producing a certificate of her gallant's former marriage.
Yes. Upon condition she consent to my marriage with Millamant and surrender to me that portion of her niece's fortune which she holds in trust.
Well, I have an opinion of your success, for I believe my mother will do anything to get a husband. And when she has this impostor which you have provided for her, I suppose she will submit to anything to get rid of him.
Yes. I think the good lady would marry anything that resembled a man, though 'twere no more than what a butler could pinch out of a napkin.
Female frailty. We must all come to it, if we live to be old and feel the craving of a false appetite when the true one is decayed. Ah, here's your mistress.
Enter Millamant, Mincing, and Witwoud.
Here she comes, in faithful sail, with her fans spread and her streamers out, and a shoal of fools for tenders. Oh no, I beg her pardon.
I see but one empty sculler, and he tows her woman after him.
You seem to be unattended, madam. You used to have the beau monde throng after you.
Like moths about a candle. Sorry, I had like to have lost my comparison for want of breath.
Oh, I have denied myself airs today. I have walked as fast through the crowd
As a favorite, just disgraced, and with as few followers.
Dear Mr. Witwoud, truce with your similitudes, for I am as sick of 'em as...
As a physician of a good air, I cannot help it, madam. I'm incorrigible.
Yet again! Mincing, stand between me and his wit.
Oh, do, Mincing, like a screen before a great fire. I confess I do blaze today. I am too bright.
But, dear cousin, why were you so long?
Long? Lord, have I not made violent haste? I have asked every living thing I met for you. I have inquired after you as after a new fashion.
Madam, truce with your similitudes, every living thing. You met her husband and did not ask him for her.
By your leave, Witwoud, that were like inquiring after an old fashioned. To ask a husband for his wife?
A hit. A palpable hit.
You were dressed before I came abroad.
Aye, that's true. But then I had... mincing? What had I? Why was I so long?
Oh, ma'am, your ladyship stayed to peruse a packet of letters.
Oh, aye, letters. I had letters. I am persecuted with letters. I hate letters. Nobody knows how to write letters, and yet one has them. One does not know why. They serve to pin up one's hair.
Is that the way? Pray, madam, do you pin up your hair with all your letters? I find I must keep copies.
Only with those in verse, Mr. Witwoud. I never pin up my hair with prose. I think I tried once, Mincing.
All to no purpose, ma'am, but when your ladyship pins it up with poetry, oh, it sits so pleasant the next day, and it's so pure and crisp.
Indeed, so crips?
You are such a critic, Mr. Witwoud.
Mirabelle, did not you take exception last night? Oh, yes, and went away. Now I think on it, I'm angry. No, now I think on it, I'm pleased, for I believe I gave you some pain.
Does that please you?
Infinitely. I love to give pain.
You affect a cruelty which is not in your nature. Your true vanity is in the power of pleasing.
Oh, I ask your pardon for that. One's cruelty is one's power. And when one parts with one's cruelty, one parts with one's power. And when one has parted with that, I fancy one's old and ugly.
Not so, for beauty is the lover's gift. 'Tis he bestows your charms.
The vanity of these men! Fainall, do you hear him? If they did not commend us, we were not handsome. Now, you know, they could not commend one if one were not handsome. Beauty, the lover's gift? Lord, what is a lover that it can give? Why, one makes lovers as fast as one pleases, and they live as long as one pleases, and they die as soon as one pleases, and then, if one pleases, one makes more.
Very pretty.
One no more owes one's beauty to a lover than one's wit to an echo. They can but reflect how we look and what we say.
Yet, to the lover and the echo, you owe the two greatest pleasures of your life.
How so?
To your lover, you owe the pleasure of hearing yourselves praised, and to an echo, the pleasure of hearing yourselves talk.
But I know a lady that loves talking so incessantly she won't give an echo fair play. She had such an everlasting rotation of tongue that an echo must wait till she dies before it can catch her last words.
Oh, fiction. Madame Fainal, let us leave these men.
Madame Fainal, I beseech you, get rid of this man.
I have a word or two for you, Mr. Whitwood.
Exeunt Mrs. Fainall, Whitwood, and Mincing.
I would beg a private audience too. You had the tyranny to deny me last night, though you knew I came to impart a secret that concerned my love.
You saw I was engaged.
Unkind. You had the leisure to entertain a herd of fools, including that one. How can you find delight in such society? Surely to please a fool is some degree of folly.
I please myself. Besides, sometimes to converse with fools is for my health.
Your health. Is there a worse disease than the conversation of fools?
Yes, the vapors. Fools are physic for it. They are a most dispelling medicine.
Your pardon, madam. I did not realize you were ill. But glad I am your doctor has prescribed you a course of idiocy.
Mirabelle, if you persist in this offensive freedom, you will displease me. I think I must resolve, after all, not to have you. We shan't agree.
Not in our physic, it may be.
And yet our distemper in all likelihood will be the same, for we shall be sick of one another. I shan't endure to be reprimanded, nor instructed. 'Tis so dull always to act by advice, and so tedious to be told of one's faults. I can't bear it. Well, I won't have you, Mirabelle. I'm resolved. I think. You may go. Oh, what would you give, Mirabelle, that you could help loving me?
I would give something that you did not know. I could not help it.
Come, don't look grave then. Well, what do you say to me?
I say that a man may as soon make a friend by his wit, or a fortune by his honesty, as win a woman with plain dealing and sincerity.
Sententious Mirabelle.
You are merry, madam, but I would persuade you for one moment to be serious.
What, with that face? No. If you keep your countenance, 'tis impossible I should hold mine. Though there is something very moving in a lovesick face. Well, Mirabelle, if ever you would win me, woo me now. Oh, nay, if you are so tedious, fare you well. I see they are walking away.
Can you not find in the variety of your disposition one moment?
To hear you tell me that Foible's married and your plot like to speed? No.
But how came you to know it?
Except by the help of the devil you can't imagine. Unless Foible told me so herself. Which of the two it may have been, I will leave you to consider. And when you have done thinking of that, think of me.
Exit Millamant.
I have something more. God. Think of you. If the whirlwind were a case of most steady contemplation. A fellow that lives in a windmill has not a more whimsical dwelling than the heart of a man that is lodged in a woman. There's no point of the compass to which they cannot turn, and by which they are not turned. For motion, not method, is their occupation. To know this, and yet continue to be in love, is to be made wise by the dictates of reason, and yet persevere to play the fool by sheer force of instinct. Here comes my pair of turtles.
Enter Waitwell and Foible.
What, billing so sweetly? Wait, well, stop swaggering. One would think you were married for your own recreation, not for my convenience.
Your pardon, sir. With submission, we have been indeed solacing in lawful delights. But still with an eye to business, sir. I've instructed Foible as well as I could. If she can take your directions as readily as my instructions, sir, your affairs are in a prosperous way.
Did you join Mrs. Waitwell?
Oh, alas, sir, I'm afraid my Lady Wishford has been in 1,000 frenzies for me. But I protest, sir, I made as much haste as I could.
That she did indeed, sir. It was my fault that she did not make more.
I believe.
But I told my lady, as you instructed me, sir, that I had a prospect of seeing Sir Rowland, your uncle, and that I would put her ladyship's picture in my pocket to show him, which I'll be sure to say has made him so enamored of her beauty that he burns with impatience to lie at her ladyship's feet and worship the original.
Excellent, Foible. Matrimony has made you eloquent in love.
I think she has profited, sir. I think so.
You have seen Millamant, sir.
Yes.
I told her of your design, sir, because I did not know if you would find an opportunity. She had so much company last night.
Your diligence will merit more. In the meantime...
Mirabelle gives Foible money.
Oh, dear sir, your humble servant.
Spouse.
Stand off, sir. Not a penny. Go on and prosper, Foible.
You need not doubt of success. If you have no more commands, I'll be gone. My lady cannot dress till I come. What was that?
What?
Oh, God, sir, I'm sure that was Mrs. Marwood that went by. If she has seen me with you, I'm sure she'll tell my lady. I'll make haste home and prevent her. Godspeed, husband.
Exit Foible.
Sir Rowland, if you please. My wife forgets herself.
Come, sir, will you forget yourself and transform into Sir Rowland?
Oh, why, sir, married, knighted, and attended all in one day. It is enough to make any man forget himself. The difficulty will be how to recover my acquaintance with my former self and transform back into Waitwell. Nay, I shan't be quite the same Waitwell neither, for I am married now and can never be my own man again. Aye, there's the grief. That's the sad change of life. To lose my title and yet keep my wife.
End of Act 2. Act 3. A room in Lady Wishford's lodging.
No news of Foible yet?
No, madam.
I have no more patience. If I have not fretted myself till I am pale again, why, there's no veracity in me. Fetch me the red. The red! Do you hear? I'm positively ashen. Why dost thou not fetch me the little red? Do you not hear me, pothole?
The red ratafia, does your ladyship mean, or the cherry brandy?
I mean the rouge, idiot. Complexion, darling. Paint, paint, paint. Dost thou understand that, changeling, dangling thy hands like bobbins before thee? Why dost thou not stir, puppet? Thou wouldn't think upon wires.
I cannot come at the paint, madam. Foible has locked it up and carried the key with her.
Oh, a pox take you both. Well, fetch me the brandy then. I'm as pale and faint as the curate's wife that's always breeding. Boy, come! Come, boy, what art thou doing? Sipping, tasting? Say'st thee, dost thou not know the bottle?
Madam, I was looking for a cup.
Oh, a cup! Oh, save thee! And what a cup hast thou brought? Dost thou not take me to be a fairy to drink out of an acorn? Why dost thou not bring me a thimble? Come, fill. Fill! And again!
A knocking at the door.
Go see who that is. No, set the bottle down first. Here under my chair. What would thou go with the bottle in thy hand like a tapster?
John sets down the bottle and goes to the door.
Is it Foible?
No, it's a lady who, Madam Marple or Mascot
Oh, yeah, Marwood. Let her come in. Come in, good Marwood.
Enter Marwood.
I'm surprised to find your ladyship in dishabille at this time of day.
Oh, foible's a lost thing. She's been abroad since morning and never heard of since.
I saw her but now, in conference with, Mirabelle.
With Mirabelle? You call my blood into my face with mentioning that traitor. She durst not have the impudence. I sent her to negotiate an affair in which, if I'm detected, I'm undone. If that wheedling villain has flattered Foible into exposing me, I'm ruined. Oh, my dear friend, oh, I'm a wretch of wretches if I'm detected.
Madam, you cannot suspect Foible's integrity.
Oh, that licentious libertine carries poison in his tongue that would corrupt integrity itself. Shh! Hark! I hear her coming now. Dear friend, retire to the corridor that I may examine Foible with more freedom. Now, I'll be with you anon. Go, you thing, and send her in.
Marwood hides in the closet as John exits. Enter Foible.
Oh, Foible, where hast thou been? What hast thou been doing?
Madam, I have seen Sir Roland.
And what hast thou done?
Nay, 'tis your ladyship has done and are to do. I have only delivered your promises. But a man so enamored, so transported. Well, here is your portrait. All that is left, all that is not kissed away. If worshipping pictures be a sin, poor Sir Roland, say I.
Oh, but hast thou not betrayed me, Foible? Hast thou not detected me to that faithless Mirabelle? What hast thou to do with him in the mall? He has got nothing out of thee.
Oh, nothing, madam, but oh, if you had seen how he used me, madam, I'm sure you would not suspect my fidelity. Nay, if that had been the worst, I could have borne it. But he had a fling at your ladyship, too, and then I could not hold. But in faith, I gave him his own, tit for tat.
What? What? What did the filthy fellow say?
Oh, madam, 'tis a shame to say what he said, with his taunts and his fleers and his tossing up his nose. Oh, says he, what, are you hatching some plot, says he. Soliciting for your ladyship, are you, says he. Well, it's a little wonder that her gentleman callers are employed before they are invited. At her age, the superannuated.
I'll have him murdered! I'll have him flayed! Where does he eat? I'll marry a waiter to have him poisoned in his wine.
Oh, poison him! Poisoning's too good for him. Starve him, madam, starve him. Marry his uncle, Sir Roland, and get Mirabelle disinherited.
Superannuated. Would there ever be such a foul-mouthed, presumptuous, overweening, charming wag? I'll be married tomorrow. I'll be contracted tonight.
The sooner the better, madam.
Will Sir Roland be here, sayest thou? When, Foible?
Immediately, madam. Sir Roland burns for the dear hour of kissing your ladyship's hands.
Oh, superannuated. I'll frippery the villain. I'll reduce him to tags. I warrant the prodigal's garter deep in debt.
Oh, but he shan't pay it off, my lady, with a penny of the 6,000 pounds you hold in trust for Millamant. I know your ladyship will see to that. You are too tender of your beloved niece to jettison half her dowry to such a rascally devil.
Oh, dear Foible. Thank thee for that, dear Foible. Mirabelle shall never come within a country mile of Millamant's fortune, so long as I have air in my lungs and the memory of his false affection in my heart. Oh, he has put me out of all patience. I shall never recompense my features to receive Sir Roland with any economy of face. The wretch has fretted me that I'm absolutely decayed. Look, Foible.
Indeed, your ladyship has frowned a little too rashly, madam. There are some cracks discernible in the varnish.
Let me see the mirror. Cracks, sayest thou? Oh, I am errantly flayed. I look like an old pure wall. Thou must prepare me, Foible, before Sir Roland comes, or I shall never keep him with my picture.
I warrant you, madam, a little art once made your picture like you, and now a little of the same art must make you like your picture.
Oh, but are thou sure that Sir Roland will not fail to come? Or will he not fail when he does come? Will he be forward enough? For I shall die with confusion if I am forced to advance. Oh, no, I could never advance. Oh, I should swoon if he should expect advances. But I won't be too coy neither. I won't give him despair, but a little disdain is not amiss. A little scorn is alluring.
A little scorn becomes your ladyship.
Yes, yes. But tenderness becomes me best. A sort of dyingness. You see, that picture has a sort of half foible, a swimmingness in the eye. Yes, I look so. My niece affects it, but she wants features. Is Sir Roland handsome? Yeah, I'll receive him here. Is he handsome? Don't answer me. No, I won't. No, I won't. I'll be surprised. Yes, yes, I'll be taken by surprise.
Oh, by storm, madam. Sir Roland's a brisk man.
Ooh, is he? No, then he'll advance if he's a little brisk. Oh, I'm so glad he's a little brisk. Let my things be removed, Foible. Go, go, go.
Exit Lady Wishford. Enter Mrs. Fainall.
Oh, Foible, I have been in a fright lest I should come too late. That she-devil Marwood saw you in the park with Mirabelle, and I'm afraid will discover it to my mother.
Discover what, madam?
Nay, put not on that strange face. I am privy to the whole design, and know that Waitwell, to whom that word this morning married, is to personate Mirabelle's uncle, and as such, winning my mother to involve her in those difficulties from which only Mirabelle can release her, on the condition that he shall have my cousin Millamant and her fortune.
Oh, dear madam, I beg your pardon. I thought the former correspondence between you and Mr. Mirabelle might have hindered his communicating the secret.
Dear Foible, forget that.
Sweet lady, to be so good. Mr. Mirabelle cannot choose but be grateful. Well, now I can safely tell your ladyship of our success. Marwood told my lady of our meeting, but I turned it all for the better. I laid such horrid things to his charge, and my lady is so incensed that she'll be contracted to Sir Roland tonight.
Rare Foible!
Madam, I beg you to acquaint Mirabelle of his success. I would be seen as little as possible to speak to him. Besides, I believe Madame Marwood watches me. She still pines for him, but I know Mirabelle can't abide her.
Foible!
Madam, your servant. My lady is so impatient, I fear she'll come for me if I stay.
I'll go with you up the back stairs, lest I should meet her.
Exit Mrs. Fainall. Re-enter Marwood from her hiding place.
Indeed, Mrs. Engine. Is it thus with you? Are you become a go-between of this importance? Yes, I shall watch you. Why, this wench, this foible, is the very master key to everybody's strong box. And my friend, Mrs. Fainall, have you carried it so swimmingly? I thought there was something in it, but it seems he's finished with you. So your loathing is not from a want of appetite, then, but from a surfeit, else you could never be so cool to fall from a principal to be an assistant, to procure for him. Poor, simple fiend. She still pines for him, but I know Mirabelle can't abide her. 'Twere better for him had not been his confessor in that affair, Lady Serf. Without, he could have kept his counsel closer. I am not so pathetic a figure as another woman who would have found Mirabelle a degree or two handsomer than he deserves to be thought. I, for one, shall not prove another pattern of generosity. He has not obliged me to be kind to him with those lustful excesses of himself, and now I'll have none of him. Here comes the good lady.
Re-enter Lady Wishford.
Oh, dear Marwood, mwah! What shall I say for this rude forgetfulness?
No apologies, dear madam. I have been very well entertained.
Well, as I'm a person, I'm mere chaos to think that I should so forget myself. But I have had such a olio of affairs. Really, I don't know what to do. Foible! I expect my nephew, Sir Wilful, in any moment, too. Five up! He means to travel for improvement.
Methinks Sir Wilful should rather think of marrying than of traveling at his age.
Oh, no, I'm against my nephew's marrying too young. There will be time enough when he comes back and has acquired discretion to choose for himself.
Isn't he 49?
In the bloom of youth, dear Marwood. Or must I deplore mine own years?
Methinks Millamant and he would make a very fine match. Your nephew may travel afterwards. 'Tis a thing very usual with young gentlemen.
I promise you I have thought on it, and since it's your judgment, I'll think on it again. I value your judgment extremely. On my word, I'll propose it.
Re-enter Foible.
Mr. Whitwood and Mr. Petulant are come to dine with your ladyship.
Oh dear, I can't appear till I'm dressed. Come and dress me, Foible! Oh dear, Marwood, please excuse me.
Exeunt Lady Wishford and Foible. Enter Millamant and Mincing.
Sure never anything was so ill-bred as that odious man. Madam Marwood, your servant.
You have a color, Millamant. What's the matter?
That horrid fellow Petulant has provoked me into a flame. I have broke my fan. Mincing, lend me yours. God, is not all the powder out of my hair?
No. What has he done?
Nay, he has done nothing. He has only talked. Nay, he has said nothing neither, but he has contradicted everything that has been said. For my part, I thought Whitwood and he would have quarreled.
I vow, madam. I thought once they would have fought.
Well, 'tis a lamentable thing. I'll swear that one has not the liberty of choosing one's acquaintance as one does one's clothes.
If we had that liberty, we should be as weary of one set of acquaintance, though never so good, as we are of one suit, though never so fine. A fool and a doily are sweet novelties, madam, and must be worn from time to time for variety.
I could consent to wear them if they would wear alike, but fools never wear out.
Tragique, mais vrai. But what think you of the playhouse? A fine, gay, glossy fool may serve one there like a new masking habit, and conceal from the gossiping crowd the true target of a lady's conquest. For indeed, a fool's company is always a disguise, and never employed by a woman of wit, but to blind her affair with a lover of sense. If you would but appear barefaced now, and admit you would have Mirabell as patently, dare I say, as eagerly as he would have your fortune, you might as easily cast off Petulant and Woodwood as your hood and scarf. And indeed, 'tis time, for the town has found it. The secret is grown too big for the pretense. Indeed, Millamant, you can no more conceal it than can a griefless widow can her face.
Mincing, tell the men they may come up. Their folly is less provoking than my Lady Marwood's malice.
Exit Mincing.
The town has found it, Marwood? What has it found? That Mirabell loves me is no more a secret than the fact that you betrayed it to my aunt, or the reason why you betrayed it.
You are nettled.
You're mistaken. Ridiculous.
Indeed, my dear, you'll tail another fan if you don't mitigate these violent airs.
Poor Mirabell! His constancy to me has quite destroyed his complacence for all the world beside. I swear I never encouraged him to be so conspicuous. If I had the vanity to think he would obey me, I would command him to show my dear friend Marwood more gallantry. 'Tis hardly well bred to be so passionate on the one hand, and so indifferent on the other. But I despair to prevail with a fellow of such incontinent stubbornness.
so let him follow his own way. Pardon me, dear creature, I must laugh, though I grant you 'tis a little barbarous.
What pity 'tis that so much fine raillery should be so unhappily directed to miscarry.
Oh, dear creature, I ask your pardon. I swear I did not hear you.
Mirabelle and you both may think it a thing impossible when I shall tell him.
Oh, dear, what? For it is the same thing, if I hear it.
That I hate him!
Oh, madam, why so do I. And yet the creature loves me. How can one forbear laughing to think of it? I am a sibyl if I am not amazed to think what he can see in me. I'll take my death. I think you are handsomer, and within a year or two as young. If you could but wait for me, I would overtake you. But that cannot be. Well, that thought makes me melancholy. Now I'll be sad.
Your merry note may be changed sooner than you think.
Do you say so? Then I'm resolved I'll have a drink to keep up my spirits. Re-enter Mincing.
The gentlemen come, madam.
Enter Petulant and Witwoud. Is your animosity composed, gentlemen?
Raillery, raillery, madam. We have no animosity. We hit off a little wit now and then, but no animosity. The falling out of wits is like the falling out of lovers. We agree in the main, like treble and bass. Eh? Petulant.
Aye, in the main, but when I have a humor to contradict.
Aye, when he has a humor to contradict, then I contradict too.
If he says black's black, I have a humor to say 'tis blue. If I have a humor to prove it, it must be granted.
Now, it's positively must, but it may. It may.
Yes, it positively must, upon proof positive.
Aye, upon a proof positive it must, but upon proof presumptive it only may. That's a logical distinction now, madam.
I perceive your debates are of importance, and very learnedly handled.
Petulant's an enemy to learning. He relies altogether on his parts.
No, I'm no enemy to learning. It hurts not me.
That's a sign indeed. It's no enemy to you.
No, indeed. Education is no enemy to anybody but them that have it. For I perceive people who study are the unhappiest sort of wretches breathing.
Do you hear the creature? Lord, here's company. I'll be gone. Exeunt Millamant and Mincing. Re-enter John with Sir Wilful.
In the name of Bartholomew and his fair, what have we here?
Is your brother, I fancy. Don't you recognize him?
Not I. Yes, I think it is he. I've almost forgotten him. I have not seen him since the Revolution.
Sir, my lady's dressing. Here's company in the meantime.
Dressing? 2 o'clock? Why, but it's morning down here in London. We should count it towards afternoon in our parts, down in Shropshire.
And where's that, sir?
Yeah, you're a fool, sir.
You're not the first one in this house to say it, sir.
But hold, sir, but hear me, sir. A word in your ear. Pray, who are these gallants?
Really, sir, I can't tell. There are so many come here, 'tis hard to know them all.
Exit John.
Oons, this fellow knows less than a starling. I don't think he knows his own name.
Careful, Mr. Witwoud, or you'll shatter your glass house. I fancy your brother has forgot you, too.
God, I hope so.
Save you, gentlemen. And lady.
For shame, Witwoud, why won't you speak to him? And you, sir?
Petulant, speak.
And you, sir?
No offence, I hope, madam.
No, sure, sir.
This is a vile dog. I see that already. No offense. To him, petulant. Smoke him.
It seems as if you have come a journey, sir.
Very likely, sir, that it may seem so.
No offense, I hope, sir.
Oh, smoke the boots. The boots, petulant. The boots.
Sir, I presume upon the information of your boots.
Why, 'tis like you may, sir. If you are not satisfied with the information of my boots, sir, if you'll step into the stable, you may inquire it of my horse, sir.
Your horse, sir? Your horse is an ass, sir.
Do you speak by way of offence, sir?
The gentleman's merry. That's all, sir. You are among friends here, though it may be you don't know it. If I am not mistaken, you are Sir Wilful Witwood.
Right, lady, I am Sir Wilful Witwood, so I write myself. No offence to anybody, I hope, and nephew to the Lady Wishwart of this mansion.
Do you know this gentleman, sir?
What? No. Sure it's not. But yes, it is. Oh, brother Anthony! What, Tony, in faith? What, does not know me? By Our Lady, nor I thee, thou art so bedecked and beperiwigged. Tut, why dost not speak? Art thou overjoyed?
Oh, brother, is it you? Your servant, brother.
Your servant? Why, your servant again, and for your service, sir, and a hair's foot for your service, sir, and you be so cold and so courtly.
No offence, I hope, brother.
But there is, sir, and much offence. Is this your city breeding not to know your friends and your relations, your elders and your betters?
Why, brother Wilful, you may be as tart as a Shrewsbury cake if you please, but I tell you, 'tis not modish to know relations in town. You think you're in the country where great lubberly brothers slobber and kiss one another when they meet, but it is not the fashion here.
The fashion's a fool, and you're a fop. Sard, I suspected as much since you began to change the style of your letters and write in a scrap of paper, gilt around the edges, no bigger than a subpoena. I might expect when you left off honoured brother and hoping you were in good health and so forth, to begin with a rats me night, I'm so sick of last night's debauch, and then tell a familiar tale of a cock and a bull and a whore and a bottle, and so conclude.
You intend to travel, sir, as I'm informed.
Belike I may, madam. I may chance sail upon the salt seas, if my mind hold.
And the wind serve.
Serve or not serve, I shan't ask licence of you, sir, nor the weathercock, your companion. I direct my discourse to the lady, sir. 'Tis like my aunt might have told you, madam. Yes, I have settled my concerns, I may say now, and am minded to see foreign parts.
I thought you had designed for France.
Oh, I can't tell that. 'Tis like I may, and 'tis like I may not. I am somewhat dainty in making a resolution, because when I make it, I keep it. I don't shilly-shally. If I say it, I'll do it. But I have thoughts to tarry a while in town to learn something of your lingo first, before I cross the seas.
There is an academy here provided for that use.
There is? Oh, 'Tis like them, eh?
No doubt you will return very much improved.
One can only hope.
Re-enter Lady Wishford with Fainall.
Oh, nephew! Mwah! Oh, you are welcome.
Auntie Wishford, your servant.
Sir Wilful, your most faithful servant.
Cousin Fainall, give me your hand.
Will you drink anything after your journey, nephew, before you eat? Dinner's almost ready.
I'm very well, I thank you, Aunt. However, I thank you for your courteous offer. Sad, I was afraid you would have been in the fashion too and have forgot your relations. I mustn't call Tony here brother for fear of offence.
Oh, he's a riot, nephew. Oh, a wit, and such great wits only rally their great friends. When you've been abroad, nephew, you'll understand raillery better.
Why then let him hold his tongue in the meantime and rail when that day comes.
Mr. Fainall, one word in private.
Re-enter Mincing.
Ma'am, I'm come to acquaint your ladyship that dinner is impatient.
Impatient? Why then, belike it won't wait till I pull off my boots. Sweetheart, can you help me to a pair of slippers?
Fie, nephew! You must not pull off your boots here. Go on down the hall. Dinner will wait on you.
Exit Sir Wilful.
My nephew's a little unbred. You'll pardon him. Gentlemen, will you walk? Marwood.
I'll follow you, madam.
Exeunt all but Fainall and Marwood.
Am a cuckold and foibles a bawd, an errant, rank matchmaking bawd. And I, it seems, am a rank husband, and my wife a very errant, rank wife, all in the way of the world. Death! To be a cuckold by anticipation, a cuckold in embryo, to be thrown at her to disguise their wanton pleasures, to be, perhaps, father to a child I had no responsibility in getting, to scurvy wedlock.
Shake it off. You have often wished for an opportunity to part from her, and now you have it. But first, prevent their plot. The half of Milliman's fortune is too considerable to be parted with to a foe, to Mirabelle.
Damn him! That money had been mine had you not made the rash discovery.
Rebuke me not.
They were on the point of elopement and would have been sacrificed full 6,000 pounds of Milliman's dowry to their romantic whirlwind, but that you felt honor bound to destroy them by revealing the whole plot to Lady Wishford. My wife had added luster to my cuckold's horns. By that increase of fortune, I could have worn him tipped with gold.
Let that pass. Your wife no worse off than when you met her. I dare swear she had given up her affair with Mirabelle before she was wed. You married her to keep you in comfort. And if you can contrive to have her keep you in better comfort than you expected, why should you not keep her longer than you intended?
The means.
Discover to Lady Wishford your wife's conduct. Threaten to part with her. My lady loves her daughter and will come to any compromise to save her reputation. She will be enraged beyond bounds and sacrifice niece and fortune and all. And if she should flag in her part, I will not fail to prompt her.
Faith, this has an appearance.
I'm sorry to have hinted to my lady to endeavor a match between Millamant and Sir Wilful. That will be an obstacle.
Oh, leave me to manage Sir Wilful. I'll disable him for that. He will drink like a Dane after dinner. Mark my words.
So, how do you stand affected towards your wife?
Let me see. I'm married already, so that's over.
Mm-hmm.
My wife has played the jade with me. Well, that's over too. I never loved her, or if I had, why, that would have been over too by this time. And as for my reputation, I married not for it, so that's out of the question. Well, How do we proceed?
I will contrive a letter which shall be delivered to Lady Wishfort at a time when that rascal who is to act Sir Roland is with her. It shall come from an unknown hand, for the less I appear to know of the truth, the better.
The worst comes to worst, I'll turn my wife to grass. I have already the deed of settlement for the best part of her estate, which I wheedled out of her, and you shall partake, at least.
I hope you are convinced that I hate Mirabelle now. You'll be no more jealous?
Jealous? No. By this kiss. Let husbands be jealous, but the lovers still believe. Henceforth I am single and will herd no more with them. And since I take my leave of them, I care not if I leave them a motto for their crest. All husbands either pain or shame endure. The wise too jealous are, fools too secure.
End of Act 3.
Oh, is Sir Roland coming? Sayest thou, foible? Is everything in order?
Yes, madam. I have put wax lights in the sconces and placed the footmen in a row in the hall in their best liveries, and
Have you perfumed the coachmen that they may not stink of the stable when Sir Roland comes in?
Yes, madam.
And is the music ready, that he may be entertained in all points according to his passion?
All is ready, madam.
Oh, and well, how do I look, foible?
Most killing well, madam.
Well, oh, and how shall I receive him? In what figure shall I give his heart the first impression? Oh, there's a great deal in the first impression. Shall I sit? No, I won't sit. I'll walk. Yeah, I'll walk from the door upon his entrance, and then turn full upon him. No, that'll be too sudden. I'll lie. Oh, I'll lie down. Yes, I'll give my first impression on a couch. No, I won't lie neither, but loll and lean upon one elbow with one foot a little dangling off, jogging in a thoughtful way. Oh, yes, and then as soon as he appears, I'll start. I'll start, yeah, and be surprised, and rise to meet him in a pretty disorder. Yes, there's nothing more alluring than a levee from a couch in some confusion. It shows one's foot to such advantage. Hark! There's a coach.
Oh, it's he, madam.
Oh, dear. Has my nephew Sir Wilful made his addresses to Millibant as I ordered him?
Sir Wilful is set to drinking in the parlour.
Oh, it's my life. I'll send him to her. That girl needs a proper husband more than I need a strong drink. Call her down, foible. Bring her hither. Now, when they are alone, come back to me, that I may not be too long alone with Sir Roland.
Exit Lady Wishford. Enter Millamant and Mrs. Fainall.
Madam, I stayed here to tell your ladyship that Mr. Mirabelle has waited this half hour for an opportunity to talk with you, though my lady's orders were to leave you and Sir Wilful together. Shall I tell Mr. Mirabelle you are at leisure?
No. What would the dear man have? No, bid him come another time.
You are very distractible today, Millamant. Quite perturbed.
Am I? I suppose I am. There is a song, a silly trifle my father used to sing. I cannot get it out of my head.
Sir Wilful is coming. Madam, shall I send Mr. Mirabelle away?
Send him away. Or send him hither. Just as you will, dear foible. I think I'll see him. Shall I? Aye, let the wretch come. Dear Fainall, entertain Sir Wilful. Thou hast philosophy enough to undergo a fool. Thou art married and hast patience. I would confer with my own thoughts.
I am obliged to you that you would make me your proxy in this affair, but I have business of my own.
Exit foible, enter Sir Wilful. Immediately, Mrs. Fainall rushes to him.
Oh, Sir Wilful, you are come at the critical instant. There's your mistress, up to the ears in love and contemplation. Pursue your point, now or never.
Yes, my aunt would have it so. I would rather have been encouraged with a bottle or two, cousin, because I'm somewhat wary at first before I'm acquainted with the lady. But I hope after a time I shall break my mind. That is, upon better acquaintance. So, for the present, cousin, I'll take my leave. If you'll be so kind as to make my excuse, I'll return to my company.
Oh, fine, Sir Wilful, you must not be daunted.
Daunted? No, that's not it. It's not so much that. For if I set on it, I'll do it. But for the present, 'tis sufficient till further acquaintance. That's all. Goodbye.
Nay, I'll swear you shall never lose so favorable an opportunity if I can help it. I'll leave you together.
Exit Mrs. Fainall, locking the door behind her.
She locked the door. Nay, cousin Fainall! Open the door! Open the... Oh. She's not going to open the door. Nay, now she's seen me too. Cousin, I made bold to pass through, as it were. I think this door's enchanted.
Millamant hums a tune, apparently immune.
Anon. Cousin, your servant.
Lavender's blue, dilly dilly, lavender's green. Sir Wilful.
Yes, your servant. No offence, I hope, cousin.
When I am king, dilly dilly, you shall be queen. Of course. It must always be thus, mustn't it?
Huh?
A king and his queen. It must always circle back to marriage in the end.
I see you are a Sybil, cousin, that can tell and foretell things. So you can. But for my part, I am a simple knight and must answer you in plain English.
Have you any business with me, Sir Wilful?
Not present, cousin. Yes, I made bold to see to come to know if that how you were disposed to walk this evening. If so be that I might not be troublesome, I would have sought a walk with you.
A walk? What then?
Nay, nothing. Only for the walk's sake. That's all.
I nauseate walking. 'Tis a country diversion. I loathe the country and everything that relates to it.
Indeed! Looky, do you? Nay, 'tis like you may, but there are a choice of pastimes here in town, as theatre and the like.
Ah, l'étourdi. I hate the town too.
Oh, dear heart, that's much. But you should hate them both. 'Tis like you may. There are some can't relish the town, and others can't away with the country. 'Tis like you may be one of those, cousin.
Yes, 'tis like I may. You have nothing further to say to me?
not at present. When I have an opportunity to be more private, I may speak my mind in some measure. I conjecture you partly guess.
Sir Wilful, you will oblige to leave me. I have just now a little business.
Yes. When you're disposed. When you're disposed. Now's as well as another time, and another time as well as now. All's one for that. There's no haste. It will keep cold, as they say. Your servant. I think this door's locked.
You may go this way, sir.
Then, with your leave, I'll go that way then.
Exit Sir Wilful. Enter Mirabelle quietly.
Lavender's blue, dilly dilly, lavender's green. When I am king, dilly dilly, you shall be queen. Who told you so, dilly dilly, who told you so?
Was my own heart, dilly dilly, that told me so. Do you lock yourself up from me to make my search more curious? Or is this pretty artifice contrived to signify that here the chase must end and my pursuit be crowned, for you can fly no further?
Vanity. No, I'll fly and be followed to the last moment. No, I am upon the very verge of matrimony. I expect you should solicit me as much as if I were wavering at the grate of a monastery, with one foot over the threshold. I should think I was poor and had nothing to bestow if I were freed from the agreeable fatigues of solicitation.
Do not you know that when favors are conferred upon tedious solicitation, that they diminish in their value?
Ugh. There is not so impudent a thing in nature as the saucy look of an assured man confident of success. I'll never marry. Unless I am first made sure of my will and pleasure.
Would you have them both before marriage? Or will you be contented with the first now and wait for the other till after?
Don't be impertinent. Ah, my dear liberty, shall I leave thee? My faithful solitude, my darling contemplation. Lest I bid you then adieu? Adieu, my morning thoughts, agreeable wakings, indolent slumbers, all ye douceurs, ye sommets du matin, adieu. I can't do it. 'Tis more than impossible. Positively, Mirabelle, I'll lie abed in the morning as long as I please.
Then I'll get up in the morning as early as I please.
Idle creature, get up when you will. And, do you hear, I won't be called names after I'm married. Positively, I won't be called names.
Names?
I, as wife, spouse, my dear, joy, jewel, love, sweetheart, and the rest of that nauseous cant in which men and their wives are so fulsomely familiar. I shall never bear that. Good Mirabelle, don't let us be familiar or fond, nor kiss before folks, nor go to Hyde Park together the first Sunday in a new chariot to provoke eyes and whispers, and then never to be seen there again, as if we were proud of one another the first week and ashamed of one another ever after. Let us never visit together, nor go to a play together, but let us be very strange and well-bred. Let us be as strange as if we had been married a great while, and as well-bred as if we were not married at all.
Have you any more conditions to offer? Hitherto, your demands are pretty reasonable.
Trifles, as liberty to pay and receive visits to and from whom I please, to write and receive letters without interrogatories or wry faces on your part, to wear what I please, and to choose conversation with regard only to my own taste, to have no obligation on me to converse with wits that I don't like because they are your acquaintance, or to be intimate with fools because they may be your relations. Come to dinner when I please, dine in my room when I'm out of humor without giving a reason, to have my closet inviolate, to be sole empress of my tea table, which you must never presume to approach without first asking leave. And lastly, wherever I am, you shall always knock at the door before you come in. These articles subscribed, if I continue to endure you a little longer, I may, by degrees, dwindle into a wife.
Well, have I liberty to offer conditions that when you are dwindled into a wife, I may not be beyond measure enlarged into a husband?
You have free leave. Propose your utmost. Speak and spare not.
I thank you. Imprimis, then, I demand that your acquaintance be general, that you admit no sworn confidant or intimate of your own sex, no she-friend to wave her lovers under your nose and tempt you to follow suit, no decoy duck to wheedle you a fop, scrambling you to a rendezvous in a mask, then bringing you home in a pretended fright when you think you shall be found out.
Detestable imprimis! I go to the play in a mask.
Item. I article that you continue to like your own face as long as I shall. And while it passes muster with me, that you endeavor not to new coin it. To which end, together with all vizards for the day, I prohibit all masks for the night, as well as all face creams made of God knows what, hog's bones, pig water, the marrow of a roasted cat. In short, I forbid all commerce with the gentlewomen in, what do you call it?
Court.
Item, when you shall be breeding.
Ah, name it not.
Which may be presumed with a blessing on our endeavors.
Odious endeavors.
I denounce against all corseting, straight-lacing, squeezing for a shape, lest you mold my child's head like a sugar loaf, and instead of a baby, make me the father to a crooked billet. Lastly, to the autocratic dominion of your tea table, I submit, with proviso, that you exceed not in your province, but restrain yourself to proper and simple tea table drinks, as tea, chocolate, and coffee, as likewise to proper and authorized tea table talk, changing of fashions, spoiling of reputations, railing at absent friends, and so forth. But that on no account you encroach upon the man's prerogative and presume to drink healths or toast fellows, for prevention of which I banish all foreign forces such as orange brandy and citron. These provisos admitted, in other things I may prove a tractable and complying husband.
I despise all liqueurs and will toast no man as long as I live. I hate your odious provisos.
Then we're agreed. Shall I kiss your hand upon the contract?
She holds out her hand. He takes and turns it over, kissing her palm. Re-enter Mrs. Fainall, startling them.
No. What shall I do? Shall I have him? I think I must have him.
Then take him.
Well then, I... Ah! Fainall, I shall never say it. Well, I think I'll endure you.
Fie, have him, and tell him so in plain terms, for I am sure you have a mind to him.
Are you? I think I have. And the horrid man looks as if he thought so too. Well, you ridiculous thing, you. I'll have you. I won't be kissed, nor I won't be thanked. Here. Kiss my hand, though. So, hold your tongue now. Don't say a word.
Yet I must.
Mirabelle, there's a necessity for your obedience. You have neither time to talk nor to stay. My mother, Lady Wishford, is coming, and if she should see you, would fall into fits and maybe not recover in time to return to Sir Rowland, who, as Foible tells me, is in a fair way to succeed. Therefore, spare your ecstasies for another occasion and slip down the back stairs.
Aye, go. Go! In the meantime, I'll suppose you have said something to please me.
I am all obedience.
Exit Mirabelle.
Well, if Mirabelle should not make a good husband, I am a lost thing. For I find I love him violently.
So it seems.
Raucous noise from within.
Yonder Sir Wilful's drunk, and so noisy that my mother has been forced to leave Sir Rowland to appease him. But he answers her only with singing and drinking. Petulant and he were upon quarreling as I came by.
Enter Witwoud, tipsy.
Oh, is the fray made up that you have left them?
Left them. I could stay no longer. I have laughed like a chorister at a christening. I am tipsy with laughing. If I had stayed any longer, I should have burst. Yes, the fray is composed. My lady came in like a judge and gavel and halted their proceedings.
What was the dispute?
Well, that's the jest. There was no dispute. They could neither of them speak for rage, and so fell a sputtering at one another like two roasting apples.
Enter Petulant, drunk.
Oh, now, Petulant, all's over? All's well? God, why dost thou not speak? Thou art both as drunk and as mute as a fish.
Look you, Millamant, if you can love me, dear nymph, say it, and that's the conclusion. Pass on or pass off. That's all.
Petulant, thou art an epitomizer of words.
Witwoud, you are an annihilator of sense.
Thou art a retailer of phrases and dost deal in remnants of remnants like a maker of pincushions.
Thou art merely one half of an ass, and your half-brother is the rest. A Gemini of asses split would make just 4 of you.
Thou dost bite, my dear mustard seed. Kiss me for that?
Oh, stand off. I'll kiss no more males. I've kissed your brother in the spirit of reconciliation, till he rises upon my stomach like a radish.
Ah, filthy creature! What was the quarrel?
There was no quarrel. There might have been a quarrel.
If there had been words enough between them to have expressed provocation, they had gone together by the ears like a pair of castanets.
You were the quarrel.
Me?
If I have a mind to quarrel, I'll quarrel, though the matter be trifling. And if he declares you are not handsome, what if I have a mind to prove him wrong? If I shall have my reward, say so. If not, fight for your own face the next time. I'll go sleep.
Do. Wrap thyself up like a woodlouse and dream on revenge.
Think I'll go to a brothel.
Even better.
Exit petulant.
He's horridly drunk. How came you all in this pickle?
A plot to get rid of Sir Wilful. 'Twas your husband's advice, but he sneaked off.
Enter Lady Wishford and Sir Wilful, drunk.
Out! Out! At your age to conduct yourself in this rantipole rate.
No offence, aunt.
Offense! As I'm a person, I'm ashamed of you. Oh, how you stink of wine. Do you think my niece will ever endure such a Borgio?
Borgio?
At a time when you should begin a seduction and put your best foot forward, you... Oh!
No, if you begrudge me your liquor, send me a bill. But if you'd have me marry my cousin, say the word, and I'll do it. Wilful will do it. That's the word. Wilful will do it. There's my crest, my motto.
My nephew's a little overtaken, niece, but 'tis with drinking your health.
In vino veritas, aunt. If I drunk your health today, cousin, I am indeed a Borgio. But if you have a mind to be married, say the word and send for the priest. Wilful will do it. If not, dust it away and let's have another round. Tony! Oh, aunt, where's Tony? Tony's an honest fellow, though he can't hold his drink. And that's a fault.
Your pardon, madam, I can stay no longer. Sir Wilful grows very pungent. I shall be overcome if I stay. Come, cousin.
Exeunt Millamant and Mrs. Fainall.
Aye, pungent, as he would poison a fishmonger and his family. Beastly creature, I know not what to do with him. Travel, says he. Aye, travel. Get thee gone. Get thee out of my hemisphere.
Re-enter Foible.
Madam.
Is Sir Roland impatient? Good God.
Exit Foible.
Dear Cousin Woodward, get my nephew away, and you will bind me to you eternally. I have an affair of moments that invades me with some precipitation.
Brother, his pox on him, I don't know what to say to him. Will you go to a cockfight?
With a wench, Tony. Is she a shake bag, Sirrah? Let me bite your cheek for that.
Christ, he has breath like a bagpipe. Come, will you march, my brave rustic?
Lead on, little Tony. I'll follow thee, my Antony, my Tantony. Sirrah, thou shalt shake my beetle, and I'll be thy horn.
Exeunt Witwoud and Sir Wilful.
Yes, do go abroad, dear nephew, and never, ever return.
Enter Waitwell, disguised as Sir Roland.
Oh, dear Sir Roland, I am confounded with very confusion at the retrospection of my own rudeness. I have more pardons to ask than the Pope distributes in the year Jubilee. But I hope, where there is likely to be so near an alliance, that we may unbend the severity of decorum and dispense with a little ceremony.
My impatience, madam, is but a symptom of my ardor. And till I have the possession of your adorable person, I am tantalized on a rack and do but hang, madam, on the tenterhook of expectation.
Oh, you have an excess of gallantry, Sir Roland, and press things to a conclusion with a most prevailing vehemence. But a day or two for decency of marriage.
Oh, for decency of funeral, madam. The delay will break my heart. Or, if that should fail, I shall be poisoned. My nephew, Mirabel, will get an inkling of my designs and poison me, and I would willingly starve him before I die. Oh, I would gladly go out of the world with that satisfaction. That would be some comfort to me if I could but live so long as to be revenged on that unnatural viper.
Is he so unnatural, say you? Then I would contribute much, both to the saving of your life and the accomplishment of your revenge. Oh, not for my own sake, you understand, though he has been a perfidious wretch to me.
Perfidious to you?
Oh, Sir Roland, the hours that he has died away at my feet, the tears he has shed, the oaths he has sworn, the trances, the tremblings, the ardours and the ecstasies, the heart heavings and the hand grippings. No memory can register.
What? My rival? Is my nephew my rival? He dies.
Oh, no, don't kill him, Sir Roland. Starve him, inch by inch.
I'll do it. In 3 weeks he shall be barefoot. In a month on his knees begging for alms. He shall starve upward and upward till he has nothing left living but his head.
Well, Sir Roland, oh, you have the way. You are no novice in the labyrinth of love. But as I am a person, Sir Roland, you must not attribute my yielding to any sinister appetite or indigestion of widowhood, nor impute my compliance to any lethargy of morals. I hope you do not think me prone to such outbursts of passion
I do not.
Oh, I fear you do.
I do not, fair shrine of virtue.
If you think the least scruple of carnality was an ingredient in my...
Oh, dear me. No, you are all purity and goodness, all chastity and honor.
Re-enter Foible.
Madam, the musician's ready. And there's one with a letter who must deliver it into your own hands.
Oh, Sir Roland, will you give me leave? Think favourably, judge candidly, and conclude you have found a person who would suffer tortures in the name of honour, dear Sir Roland, and will wait upon you incessantly. Ta-da!
Exit Lady Wishford.
Fie, what a slavery have I undergone! Oh, spouse, hast thou any brandy? I need spirits.
What a weak and watery rogue art thou, to pant thus for 1/4 of an hour's lying and swooning to a fine lady.
Oh, she is the antidote to desire. Spouse, thou wilt fare the worse for it. I shall have no lover's appetite for a week. By this hand, I'd rather be a pack horse in high summer than act Sir Roland till this time tomorrow.
Re-enter Lady Wishford with a letter.
Now, with your permission, Sir Roland, I will peruse my letter. I shall open it in your presence because I would not make you uneasy. You may see by the subscription, it is on a woman's hand.
By heaven, it's Marwood's. I know it well. Get it from her.
A woman's hand? No, madam, that's no woman's hand. That's somebody whose throat must be cut.
Oh, no, no, Sir Roland, you shall see it. We will open it together. Madam, though unknown to you, oh, look you there, it is from nobody that I know. I have that honour for your character that I think myself obliged to let you know you are abused. He who pretends to be Sir Roland is a cheat and a rascal. Oh! Oh, heavens! What's this?
Oh, unfortunate. All's ruined.
How? Let me see.
Oh!
A rascal and disguised and suborned for that imposture. Oh, villainy, villainy! By the contrivance of...
I will faint! I will die! Ah!
Say it is your nephew's hand. Quickly, swear it!
Here's a villain, madam. Don't you perceive it? Don't you see it?
Oh, too well! Too well! I have seen too much! Oh, God.
I told you at the first I knew the hand. A woman's hand? Oh, no. The rascal writes a sort of a large hand, your Roman hand. By heaven, if he were my son, as he is my nephew, I'd pistol him.
No! Treachery! But are you sure, Sir Rowland, it is Mirabel's writing?
Sure. Am I here? Do I live? Do I love this pearl of women? I have 20 letters in my pocket from him in the same character.
How?
Oh, what luck it is, Sir Rowland, that you were present at this juncture.
His date is short.
No! Good, Sir Rowland, don't incur the law.
Law? I care not for law. I can but die, and 'tis in a good cause. My lady shall be satisfied of my truth and innocence, though it cost me my life.
No, dear Sir Rowland, no, don't fight! If you should be killed, I must never show my face. Oh, consider my reputation, Sir Rowland, you must not fight.
I am charmed, madam. I obey. But some proof you must let me give you. I shall go fetch a black box, which contains the writings of my whole estate, and deliver that into your hands.
Oh, Sir Rowland, that would bring some comfort.
And may I presume to bring a marriage contract to be signed this night? May I hope so far?
Oh, bring what you will, but come alive, pray, come alive.
Dead or alive, I'll come, and married we will be in spite of treachery. Aye, and procreate an heir that shall defeat the last remaining glimpse of hope in my hopeless nephew. Come, my buxom widow. Ere long you shall substantial proof receive that I'm an errant knight.
Or errant knave.
End of Act 4. Act 5. A room in Lady Wishford's lodging.
Out of my house! Out of my house! Thou viper, thou servant that I have fostered, thou bosom traitress that I raised from nothing. You be gone. Be gone! Go!
Dear madam, I'll beg pardon on my knees.
Away! Out! Go settle for yourself again. Go, do. Drive a trade. With your 3 pennyworth of small ware, your 2 rows of pins and a tile fiddle. Go! Go, drive a trade. These were your commodities, you treacherous troll. This was the merchandise you dealt in when I took you into my house, placed you next to myself, and made you governor of my whole family. You have forgot this, have you? And now that you have feathered your nest?
No, dear madam, do but hear me. Have a moment's patience. I'll confess all. Mr. Mirabel seduced me. I'm not the first that he has wheedled with his dissembling tongue. Oh, madam, if you knew what he had promised me, and how he assured me your ladyship should come to no harm, no damage.
No damage? What, to betray me? To marry me to a simple serving man? To make me a receptacle, a hospital for decayed pimp? No damage? Oh, thou frontless impudence.
Pray but hear me, madam. He could not marry your ladyship, madam. No, indeed, his marriage was to have been void in law, for he was married to me first, to protect your ladyship. Yes, indeed, I inquired of the law in that case before I would meddle or make. We were coupled, madam.
Coupled? Coupled, you say? What? You have made a passive whore of me. This exceeds all precedent. Oh, very well. I'll couple you. Yes, I'll baste you together, you and that philandering waitwell. I'll bailey you as I'm a person. Your turtle is in custody already. Oh, you shall coo in the same cage.
Exit Lady Wishford.
Oh, that I was ever born. Oh, that I was ever married.
Enter Mrs. Fainall.
Poor Foible, what's the matter? Oh, madam, my lady's constable, and I shall be had to a justice. Poor Waitwell's gone to prison already.
Have a good heart, Foible. Mirabel's gone to fetch bail for him. This is all Marwood's and my husband's doing.
Yes. Yes, I know it, madam. She was in my lady's closet and overheard all that you said to me before dinner. She sent the letter to my lady, and Mr. Fainall set a trap to arrest Waitwell when he pretended to go for the contract. And in the meantime, Mrs. Marwood declared all to my lady.
Was there no mention made of me in the letter? My mother does not suspect my being in the Confederacy?
You did not see that part. We stifled the letter before she read so far. Has that devil Marwood told Mr. Fainall of your ladyship, then?
Aye, all's out. My affair with Mirabel, everything discovered. This is the last day of living together with my husband. That's my comfort.
It would be greater comfort if you knew all.
All?
He has been even with your ladyship. Mrs. Marwood and he are nearer related than ever the town might imagine.
Sayest thou so, Foible? Canst thou prove
I can
this?
take my oath of it, madam. So convincing. We have had many a fair word from Madame Marwood to conceal something that passed in our chamber one evening when you were at the playhouse.
This discovery is the most opportune thing I could wish!
Enter Mincing.
Mincing, your timing is impeccable.
My lady Millamant would speak with Foible, ma'am. Mr. Mirabel is with her. He has set your spouse at liberty, Foible, and would have you hide yourself in her closet till the old lady's anger is abated. Oh, and the old lady is in a perilous passion at something. Mr. Fainall has said he swears and the old lady cries. There's a fearful hurricane, I vow. He says, ma'am, that he'll have my lady's fortune made over to him or he'll be divorced.
Do Millamant and Mirabel know this?
Yes, ma'am. They have sent me to fetch Sir Wilful, if he be sober. My lady Millamant is resolved to have him, I think, rather than lose such a vast sum of 6,000 pounds. Oh, come, Foible, I hear the old lady.
Foible, you and Mincing must prepare to vouch when I call you.
Yes, madam.
Oh, yes, ma'am. I'll vouch anything for your ladyship's service, be it what it will.
Exeunt Mincing and Foible. Enter Lady Wishford and Marwood.
Oh, my dear friend, how can I enumerate the benefits that I have received from your goodness? To you, I owe the timely discovery of the false vows of Mirabel. To you, the detection of the impostor Sir Rowland. And now you petition my son-in-law to save the honor of my house from the frailties of my daughter. Well, friend, you are enough to reconcile me to the bad world. Or else I should retire to a lonely solitude and feed harmless sheep by groves and purling streams. Yes, dear Marwood, let us leave the world and retire by ourselves and be shepherdesses.
Let us first dispatch this affair in hand, madam. We shall have the leisure to think of retirement afterwards. Here is one who is concerned in the treaty.
Oh, daughter. Daughter? Is it possible that thou shouldst be my child, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, and yet transgress the most singular particle of female virtue? Oh, is it possible that you should fall into iniquity? You have been cast in the direct mold of morality.
I don't understand you, mother.
Oh, don't understand. Don't understand. Here I must suffer ruin to compensate for your caprices and your coupledoms. I must pawn my pictures and my jewels and ruin my knees.
I am as wronged and abused as you are. 'Tis a false accusation as false as hell, as false as your friend there, I, or your friend's friend, my false husband.
My friend, Mrs. Fainall? Your husband, my friend? What do you mean?
I know what I mean, madam, and so do you, and so shall the world, at a time convenient.
I am sorry to see you so passionate, madam. More temperance would look like more innocence. I have done. I am sorry my zeal to serve your ladyship and her family should afford such misinterpretation and make me liable to affronts. You will pardon me, madam, if I meddle no more in an affair in which I am not personally concerned.
No, don't leave me destitute in this dear Marwood. You, who deserve more than all my daughter's life can accomplish. Stick to me, my good genius.
Stick to you! Aye, like a leech to suck your best blood. She'll drop off when she's full. Madam, you shan't pawn a plate, nor part with a brass counter on my account. I defy them all. Let them prove their aspersions. I know my own innocence and dare stand trial.
Exit Mrs. Fainall.
Why, if she should be innocent, if she should be wronged after all, I don't know what to think. And I promise you her education has been irreproachable. I may say it, for I chiefly made it mine own care to initiate her very infancy in the rudiments of virtue, and to impress upon her tender years an aversion to the very sight of men. She was never suffered to play with a male child. Nay, her very dolls were of the feminine gender. And can I think, after all this, that my daughter can be now, what, a whore? Oh, my dear friend, I can't believe it. No, it must be proven.
Proven? Madam? What, and have your name prostituted in a public court? Yours and your daughter's reputation mauled at the bar by a pack of braying lawyers, to be ushered in with a hear ye of scandal, and have your case opened by a fumbling lecher in a wig to bring your daughter's infamy to light.
Oh, 'tis very hard.
To invite the ridicule of the court and provoke scandalous testimony while the good judge simpers under a grey beard and fidgets often on his cushion as he had sat on a hedgehog.
Worse and worse.
Nay, this is nothing. If it would end here, 'twere well. But it must after this be consigned by the shorthand writers to the public press, and from thence you must read it till your eyes ache and hear nothing else for years and years and years and years.
Ow! Make it stop! Make it stop! Oh, this is insupportable. No, dear friend, I'll submit. I'll give it all up. Myself and my own. My niece and her own. Oh, anything, everything for absolution.
Nay, madam, I advise nothing. I only lay before you as a friend the inconveniences which perhaps you have overlooked. Here comes your poor, abused son-in-law.
Enter Fainall.
Well, madam, I have suffered myself to be overcome by the importunity of this lady, friend, and am content you shall retain your estate during life, on condition you oblige yourself never to marry.
Never to marry?
No more Sir Rowlands. The next impostor may not be so timely detected.
That condition, I dare answer, my lady will consent to without difficulty. She has already but too much experienced the perfidiousness of men. Besides, madam, when we retire to our pastoral solitude, we shall bid adieu to all other thoughts.
Aye, yeah, that's true. But in case of necessity, as a health or some such emergency.
Oh, if you are prescribed a marriage, it shall be considered. Only I will reserve to myself the power to choose for you. If medicine be wholesome, matters not who is your apothecary. Next, my wife shall settle on me the remainder of her fortune to be spent entirely at my discretion.
This is most inhumanly savage.
Lastly, I will be endowed, in right of my wife, with that £6,000, which is the half of Mrs. Milliment's fortune in your possession, which she has forfeited by disobediently contracting herself against your consent or knowledge, and by refusing the offered match with Sir Wilful Witwoud, which you, like a careful aunt, had provided for her.
My nephew was in the Noveritas and could not make his addresses.
I come to make demands. I'll hear no objections.
You will grant me time to consider.
Yes, while the deed is drawing, to which you must set your hand. Till my return, you may weigh this matter at your own discretion.
Exit Fainall.
This insolence is beyond all precedent, all parallel. Must I be subject to this merciless villain?
'Tis severe indeed, madam, that you should suffer for your daughter's harlotry.
'Twas against my consent that she married this Philistine, but she would have him, though her year of mourning was not out. Her first husband, my dear Languish, would not have carried it thus. Well, that was my choice. This is hers. Oh, here come 2 more of my Egyptian plagues.
Enter Millamant and Sir Wilful.
Aunt, your servant.
Oh, out, caterpillar. Call me not aunt.
I confess I have been a little in size, as they say, and I'm sorry for it. I hope I committed no offence, Aunt, and if I did, I am willing to make satisfaction. I am willing to marry my cousin Millamant. So, pray let's all be friends. She and I are agreed upon the matter.
What? How's this, dear niece? Can this be true?
I am content to be a sacrifice to your peace of mind, madam. And to convince you that I had no hand in the plot, I have commanded Mirabelle to come in person and be a witness that I give my hand to this flower of knighthood. And for the contract that passed between Mirabelle and me, I have convinced him to make a resignation of it in your ladyship's presence. He is outside, awaiting audience.
Well, I'll swear I am somewhat revived at this testimony of your obedience. But I cannot admit that traitor. He is as terrible to me as a gorgon. If I see him, I fear I shall turn to stone.
If you will not see him, he may resent your refusal and insist upon our contract still. This is the last time he will be offensive to you.
Are you sure of it? If I were sure of that.
Sir Wilful, you and Mirabelle are to travel together. Are you not?
Aye, that we are, sworn brothers and fellow travellers. The gentleman's a civil gentleman. Aunt, let him come in. Mirabelle is to be my interpreter in foreign parts. He's been overseas already, and with the proviso that I marry my cousin, will cross him once again to keep me company. I'll call him in.
Exit Sir Wilful.
This is precious fooling if it would pass. But I'll know the bottom of it.
Oh, dear Marwood, where are you going?
Not far, madam. I'll return immediately.
Exit Marwood. Re-enter Sir Wilful with Mirabelle.
Look up, man. I'll stand by you. But even if she do frown, she can't kill you. Besides, harkee, she dare not frown too desperately because her face is none of her own. If she should glower, her forehead would wrinkle like cream cheese. But mum's the word on that, good fellow traveller.
If a deep sense of the many injuries I have offered to so good a lady with a sincere remorse and a hearty contrition, can but obtain the least glance of compassion, I am too happy. I confess I have deservedly forfeited the high place I once held of sighing at your feet. Nay, kill me not by turning from me in disdain. I come not to plead for favor nor for pardon, but only for pity. I'm going where I never shall behold you again.
Right you are, dear fellow traveller, for we twain have worlds to see.
Let me be pitied first, and afterwards forgotten. I ask no more.
By Our Lady, a very reasonable request, and will cost you nothing, aunt.
At least think it punishment enough that I have lost what in my heart I hold most dear. That to your cruel indignation I have offered up this beauty, and with her my peace and quiet, nay, all my hopes of future happiness.
Aunt, if you don't forgive quickly, I shall melt, I can tell you that. My contract went no further than a little mouse clue, and that's hardly dry. One doleful sigh more from my fellow traveller, and 'tis dissolved.
Well, sir, I will stifle my just resentment at my nephew's request. I will endeavor to do what I can to forget, but on the proviso that you resign the contract with my niece immediately.
It is in writing. I've sent my servant for it and will deliver it to you with full acknowledgement of your transcendent goodness.
Oh, he has witchcraft in his eyes and tongue. When I did not see him, I could have had bribed a villain to his assassination, but his appearance takes the embers which have so long laid smothered in my breast.
Re-enter Fainall and Marwood.
Your date of deliberation, madam, is expired. Here's the contract. Are you prepared to sign?
If I were prepared, I am not empowered. My niece exerts a lawful claim, having matched herself by my direction to Sir Wilful.
That sham will not pass with me.
Sir, I have given my consent.
And sir, I have resigned my pretensions.
And sir, I assert my right to the match, and will uphold it in defiance of you, sir, and your contract. I have an old dog in the yard that eats contracts. He shall rip it to shreds, sir, and then feed on the hand that holds it, and not stop biting till he reach the shoulder.
Hold, nephew, hold.
Good Sir Wilful, contain your valor.
Indeed. I see you are provided of a guard with your single beef-eater there. But I'm prepared for you and insist upon my terms. You shall submit your own estate to my management and make over my wife's to my sole use, or I will discover to the world the scandal of her dalliance with Mirabell.
Ungrateful wretch! Dost thou not owe thy being, thy subsistence to my daughter's fortune?
I'll answer you when I have the rest of it in my possession.
'Tis pity you would not accept of a remedy from my hands, though I own I have not deserved you to trust me. But perhaps I could advise...
What? What? To save me and my child from ruin. I'll forgive all that's past. Nay, I'll consent to anything to come to be delivered from this tyranny.
Aye, madam, but it is too late. My reward is intercepted. You have disposed of she who only could have stood as compensation for my services.
No. Harkee, Mirabell. No, I'll break my nephew's match. You shall have my niece yet, and all her fortune, if you could but save me from this imminent danger.
Then I take you at your word. I ask no more. I must have leave for 2 criminals to appear.
Oh, aye, anybody.
Foible?
Re-enter Mrs. Fainall, Foible, and Mincing.
Oh, my shame, these corrupt things are brought hither to expose me.
It must all come out. Why, let 'em know it. 'Tis but the way of the world, but it shall not urge me to abate one title of my terms. No, I will insist all the more.
Oh, Marwood. art thou false? My friend, deceive me. Hast thou been a wicked accomplice with that profligate man?
Oh, yes, indeed, madam. I'll take my Bible oath on it.
And so will I, madam.
Lady Wishfort, have you so much ingratitude and an injustice as to give credit against your friend to the aspersion of two such mercenary trolls?
Oh, mercenary, ma'am! I scorn your words. We found you and Mr. Fainall in Mincing's room and not one petticoat of dignity in sight. Mercenary? No. If we would have been mercenary, we should have held our tongues, for you would have bribed us sufficiently.
This Mr. Mirabel's expedient? I'll be put off no longer. You bitch that was a wife shall smart for this. I will not leave thee wherewithal to hide my shame. Your body shall be as naked as your reputation.
I despise you and defy your malice. You have accused me wrongfully. I have proved your falsehood. Go, you and your treacherous... I will not name it, but starve together. Perish.
Not while you are worth a groat, my dear. Madam, I'll be delayed no longer.
Ah, Mirabel, this is small comfort, the detection of this affair.
Oh, in good time. Your leave for the other offender and penitent to appear, madam?
Enter Waitwell with a box of papers.
Oh, Sir Roland! Oh, rascal!
What your ladyship pleases. I brought the black flask at last, madam.
Give it to me. Madam, you remember your promise.
Aye, dear sir.
Where are the gentlemen?
At hand, sir, rubbing their eyes, just risen from a...
Stath, what's this to me? I'll not attend your private concerns.
Enter Petulant and Witwood.
Oh, now, what's the matter?
Heyday. What, are you all got together like players at the end of the last act?
You may remember, gentlemen, I once requested your hands as witnesses to a certain document.
I do. My hand. I remember.
You do not remember, gentlemen, what that parchment contained.
No.
Not I. I read nothing. I just wrote.
Very well. Now you shall know. Madam, your promise.
Aye, sir. Upon my honor. Millement shall be yours.
Fainall, you should know that your wife, while she was mistress of her own affairs, and before you had wheedled from her a pretended settlement of the greatest part of her fortune...
Sir, pretended?
Yes, sir. For this lady, while a widow, having received some cautions respecting your inconstancy and tyranny of temper, she did, by the wholesome advice of friends and solicitors, deliver this deed to me in trust, and to the uses within mentioned.
What is he talking about? What is this?
Sir Roland, if you please.
A deed of conveyance of the whole estate of Arabelle Languish, widow, in trust to Edward Mirabel.
'Tis but the way of the world, sir. I wager this deed might bear an elder date than what you have obtained from your lady.
Perfidious fiend! Then thus I'll be revenged! You...
Fainall runs at Mrs. Fainall, but Witwood intercepts them and holds him back.
Hold, sir, or we brothers shall finish you.
Mirabel, you shall hear of this, sir. Be sure you shall. Let me pass! Oath!
Exit Fainall.
Madam, you seem to stifle your resentment. You had better give it vent. Yes, it shall have vent, and to your detriment, or I'll perish in the attempt.
Exit Marwood.
Oh, daughter! Oh, daughter! 'Tis plain thou hast inherited thy mother's prudence.
Thank Mr. Mirabel, a cautious friend, to whose advice all is owing.
Well, Mirabel, you have kept your promise, and I must perform mine. First, I pardon for your sake Sir Roland there and Foible. The next thing is to break the contract with my nephew. And how to do that?
So, I have no mind to marry. My cousin's a fine lady, but the gentleman loves her, and she loves him, and they deserve one another. My resolution is to see foreign parts. I've set on it. And when I'm set on it, I must do it. As these two gentlemen will swear, eh?
Oh, for my part, I say little. I am barely awake.
Egad, I understand nothing of the matter. I'm in a maze yet, like a dog in a dancing school.
Well, sir, take her, and with her all the joy I can give you.
Why does not the man take me? Would you have me give myself to you over again?
Aye, and over again. I would have you as often as I possibly can.
So you'll have him time enough to toy after you're married? Or, if you will toy now, let us have a dance in the meantime, that we who are not lovers may have some other employment besides looking on.
With all my heart, dear Sir Wilful.
What shall we do for music?
I'll fetch it, cousin.
Exit Sir Wilful.
And yet, I cannot but have some fears upon me, yet that my husband will pursue some desperate course.
Madam, disquiet not yourself on that account. His circumstances are such he must comply. And for my part, I will, in view of all of these witnesses, restore to you this deed of trust, which may be a means to let you live without a husband.
Amen.
From hence let those be warned who mean to wed, lest mutual falsehood stain the bridal bed. For each deceiver to his cost may find that marriage frauds too oft are paid in kind.
Re-enter Sir Wilful.
The musicians are come.
Let him play.
Music plays, they all dance. End of play.